My loud neighbor wouldn't stop partying at 3 a.m., so I bought a rooster. My name is Tyler, and I'm 29 years old. I work as a software engineer, which means I need to actually sleep at night to function at my job. For 8 months, I lived next to the neighbor from hell who made that impossible. This is the story of how a rooster named Gerald solved my problem and became a neighborhood legend. The neighbor. Meet Brandon. I moved into my house in suburban Phoenix 2 years ago. Small place, 3 bedrooms, nice quiet street. Or so I thought. My next door neighbor, Brandon, was a 24-year-old trust fund kid who'd never worked a day in his life. His parents bought him the house when he turned 21. He didn't have a job, didn't go to school, just lived off his trust fund and threw parties. At first, the parties were weekend things, Friday and Saturday nights, loud music until maybe midnight. Annoying, but tolerable. I figured he was young and would grow out of it. He did not grow out of it. By month 3, parties were happening Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, random weekday afternoons, and they were getting louder and lasting longer. The music was the worst part, bass-heavy EDM that literally shook my walls. I could feel it in my chest when I was trying to sleep. My dishes would rattle in the cabinets. I tried talking to him, knocked on his door at midnight one Tuesday when I had to work the next morning. He answered, clearly drunk, music blaring behind him. "What's up, bro?" "Hey, could you turn the music down? I have work tomorrow and I can't sleep." Yeah, totally. No problem, man." He closed the door. The music did not get quieter. I tried again and again, same result every time. He'd agree to turn it down, close the door, and nothing would change. The escalation. Month 4 through 8. By month 4, I'd called the police 17 times. They'd show up, tell Brandon to keep it down, and leave. The music would stop for maybe an hour, then start right back up. "We can't keep coming out here every night," one officer told me. "It's a civil matter at this point. You might want to consider legal action." Legal action. Like I could afford to sue my neighbor while paying my mortgage. I tried the HOA. We didn't have one. Our street was just outside the HOA boundaries. Lucky me. I tried the city's noise ordinance hotline. Filed complaint after complaint. Nothing happened. Apparently, unless the noise violation happened while an inspector was physically present to measure the decibel levels, they couldn't do anything. Brandon figured out I was the one calling the cops. He started leaving notes on my door. "Stop being a narc," and "Learn to have fun," and my personal favorite, "Sorry your life sucks, but that's not my problem." The parties got worse, louder, more frequent. People started parking on my lawn because his driveway was full. I'd wake up to beer cans in my yard, cigarette butts on my porch, and occasionally someone passed out on my front steps. I was getting maybe 4 hours of sleep a night. My work performance was tanking. I was exhausted, frustrated, and running out of options. The breaking point, 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. The breaking point came on a random Tuesday night in June. I had a huge presentation at work the next morning. 9 a.m. meeting with the entire executive team. I'd been preparing for weeks. I needed sleep. I went to bed at 10 p.m., hoping against hope that Brandon would take a night off. At 11 p.m., the music started. At midnight, it got louder. At 1 a.m., people arrived. I could hear them shouting in the backyard, laughing, splashing in his pool. At 2 a.m., someone broke a bottle on my driveway. I heard the crash from my bedroom. At 3 a.m., I snapped. I got out of bed, walked to my window, and stared at Brandon's house. Every light was on. The music was so loud I could identify the song. People were everywhere, his yard, my yard, the street, and I just decided. I was done being reasonable, done following the proper channels, done being the nice neighbor who tried to work things out. If the system wouldn't help me, I'd help myself. The research. Finding a legal solution. I couldn't sleep anyway, so I spent the rest of that night researching. Noise ordinances, property rights, neighbor disputes, and then at 4:30 in the morning, exhausted and half crazy, I found it. A forum post from 3 years ago. Someone complaining about their neighbor's rooster. And a response that changed everything. Check your county agricultural laws. In most suburban counties in Arizona, you're allowed to keep up to 4 chickens and 1 rooster for personal agricultural use without any special permits. I sat up in bed. Read it again. Roosters are legal in Maricopa County. I spent the next hour researching, pulled up the county code, read through all the agricultural exemptions, and sure enough, there it was. Residential properties over 1/8 of an acre can keep up to 4 chickens and 1 rooster without requiring any special permits or permissions. My property was exactly 1/4 acre. Roosters crow at dawn, every morning, loudly. It's literally what they're known for. And Brandon's bedroom window faced my backyard. I'd seen him standing there before when he was on phone calls. I smiled for the first time in months. Acquiring Gerald, the rooster search. I called in sick to work that day, bombed my presentation, didn't care. I was on a mission. I started calling farms, agricultural supply stores, breeders. I had specific requirements for my rooster. 1, he had to be loud, the loudest rooster I could possibly find. 2, he had to be healthy and well cared for. I wasn't going to abuse an animal just to annoy my neighbor. 3, he needed to be legal, fully up to date on any required health certificates. The third farm I called had exactly what I needed. I've got a 3-year-old Rhode Island Red named Gerald, the farmer said. Great bird, loud as hell. We're actually trying to rehome him because he's too loud for our setup. Wakes up the whole farm at 4:30 every morning like clockwork. Perfect, I said. I'll take him. You sure? He's really loud and mean sometimes. Chased my daughter across the yard last week. I'm sure. I drove 2 hours to pick up Gerald that afternoon. He was beautiful. Deep red feathers, bright eyes, impressive comb, and when the farmer opened his coop, Gerald let out a crow that made me flinch. Told you, the farmer said. He's got a set of lungs on him. I paid the farmer $50 and drove home with Gerald in a carrier in my back seat. He crowed the entire drive. By the time I got home, I loved him. Setting up the strategic placement. I spent that evening building Gerald's coop. I'm not handy, but YouTube taught me enough to create something functional. 6 feet by 4 feet, elevated off the ground, nice roosting bar, nesting box, and I positioned it in the back corner of my yard, the corner closest to Brandon's house, specifically the corner right underneath Brandon's bedroom window, 12 feet from his window. Perfectly legal property line distance. I added food, water, some bedding, made sure Gerald was comfortable. He strutted around his new coop like he owned the place. Welcome home, buddy, I said. You're going to do great things here. That night, I actually slept. The music was still going at Brandon's place, but I didn't care. I had hope for the first time in months. I set my alarm for 4 a.m. I wanted to be awake for Gerald's first performance. Day 1, the first crow. 4:28 a.m. I was standing at my back window with a cup of coffee, watching Gerald's coop. 4:30 a.m., almost to the second, Gerald hopped up onto his roost, puffed out his chest, and crowed. It was glorious. It was loud. Louder than I'd even expected. The kind of crow that sounds like it's being amplified through a megaphone. A full-throated, pride-filled announcement that Gerald was awake and everyone else should be too. He crowed again, and again, and again, 6 times in 2 minutes. I saw Brandon's bedroom light turn on. I smiled so wide my face hurt. Gerald crowed all morning, every 10 to 15 minutes from 4:30 until about 7 a.m. Then he settled down, scratched around his coop, ate some feed, and took a nap. I went to work that day feeling more rested than I had in months. Not because I'd slept well, Gerald had woken me up too, but because I was running on pure satisfaction. Day 2 through 7. The pattern establishes. Gerald was consistent. Every morning, 4:30 a.m., like an alarm clock you couldn't turn off. Brandon's lights would come on. Sometimes I'd see him at his window, looking around, trying to figure out where the noise was coming from. His parties continued, but I noticed something. They were ending earlier. 2 a.m. instead of 4 a.m., 1:30 a.m. instead of 3 a.m. Turns out it's hard to party all night when you know a rooster is going to wake you up in a few hours. Other neighbors started commenting. Mrs. Chen from across the street stopped me when I was getting my mail. Is that your rooster I keep hearing? I tensed up. Yeah. Is it bothering you? I can look into bothering me? I love it. Reminds me of growing up on my grandmother's farm. It's charming. Mike from 2 doors down had a similar reaction. Dude, the rooster is awesome. Very country. I kind of love it. Apparently, most of my neighbors were either deep sleepers or found Gerald's crowing nostalgic rather than annoying. But not Brandon. Week 2, the confrontation. Brandon showed up at my door on a Saturday morning. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, greasy hair, rumpled clothes. Your rooster is ruining my life, he said. My rooster? I said innocently. You mean Gerald? I don't care what you call it. That thing wakes me up every single morning at 4:30. Weird. I barely notice him anymore. Bullshit. He's right under my window. He's in my yard, on my property, completely legal. You did this on purpose. I got a rooster because I'm interested in sustainable living and fresh eggs. Gerald was male and therefore produced no eggs, but Brandon didn't need to know that. You're doing this because of the parties. What parties? I don't know what you're talking about. His jaw clenched. Get rid of the rooster. No, I'll call the police. Go ahead. He's completely legal. I checked with the county, even got it in writing. I actually had gotten it in writing. Printed out the county code and everything, just in case. Brandon stared at me. I stared back. You're an asshole, he finally said, and you're a terrible neighbor. Guess we're even. He left. Slammed my gate so hard it bounced back open. That night, he threw the loudest party yet. Music until 3 a.m. People everywhere. Someone threw up in my bushes. But at 4:30 a.m., Gerald crowed and kept crowing, and I watched Brandon's light turn on and imagined his bloodshot eyes and pounding head. Worth it. Week 3. The noise complaint. Brandon called animal control, filed a noise complaint against Gerald. An inspector came out. Nice guy named Dave. He walked around my yard, checked Gerald's coop, verified he had food and water and adequate space. Someone complained about noise? Dave asked. My neighbor, the one who throws parties until 3 a.m. every night. Dave looked at Brandon's house, then back at Gerald. Your rooster seems healthy and well cared for, and you're zoned for agricultural exemptions. I don't see any violation here. So he can stay? He can stay. Though I should warn you, roosters are loud. If multiple neighbors complain, we might have to reassess. My other neighbors love him. Then you're fine. Give him fresh water daily, keep the coop clean, and you're good. Dave left. I gave Gerald extra treats that day. Brandon tried calling the HOA. We still didn't have one. He tried calling the city. They referred him back to animal control, who told him the same thing. Gerald was legal. He was stuck. And he knew it. Week 4 through 8. The escalation and retreat. Brandon tried everything. He put up a sound barrier along his fence. Didn't help. Gerald's crowing was too loud. He bought earplugs. I'd see him wearing them when he took out his trash, bright orange plugs visible in his ears. He moved his bedroom to the front of the house. Gerald's crowing was slightly quieter there, but still audible. His parties got less frequent. Quieter. Ending earlier. Turns out chronic sleep deprivation makes you less excited about hosting ragers every night. I, meanwhile, was sleeping great. I'd gotten used to Gerald's morning routine. My body had adjusted. I'd wake up at 4:30, make coffee, watch the sunrise with Gerald's crowing as my soundtrack, then go back to sleep for a couple more hours before work. It was peaceful. Other neighbors started visiting Gerald. Mrs. Chen brought him vegetable scraps. Mike's kids asked to pet him. I said no. Gerald was mean and territorial. The neighborhood Facebook group had a whole thread about the rooster on Maple Street. Most comments were positive. A few people complained about the noise, but they were outvoted by people who thought Gerald was cute and added character to the neighborhood. Brandon posted in that thread once, "That rooster is a noise violation, and the owner is doing it on purpose to harass me." Someone responded, "Maybe if you stopped throwing parties until 3 a.m., your neighbor wouldn't need a rooster alarm clock to wake you up." 53 people liked that comment. Brandon deleted his post. Month 3, the moving truck. 3 months after Gerald moved in, I woke up to see a moving truck in Brandon's driveway. I watched from my window as movers loaded furniture, boxes, his ridiculous sound system. Brandon supervised, looking exhausted and defeated. Around noon, he came to my door one last time. "I'm moving," he said. "I can see that." "I hope you're happy." "I'm getting there. That rooster ruined my life." "Your parties ruined mine first. I asked you nicely at least 20 times to keep it down. You didn't listen. So you tortured me with a rooster?" "I got a pet rooster for agricultural purposes. If his natural behavior bothered you, that's not really my problem." Brandon shook his head. "You're petty. You're inconsiderate. I guess we both learned something about each other." He left without another word. The moving truck pulled away at 3 p.m. I went out to Gerald's coop. "We did it, buddy. We won." Gerald crowed triumphantly. 6 months later, life with Gerald. It's been 6 months since Brandon moved out. A nice couple in their 50s bought his house, They work normal jobs, keep normal hours, and have never once thrown a party that lasted past 10 p.m. They love Gerald. They actually asked if they could contribute to his feed costs since they enjoy his crowing so much. Gerald is thriving. He's gained weight in a healthy way, his feathers are glossy, and he's become something of a neighborhood mascot. Kids walk by just to see him. People bring him treats. There's a woman 3 streets over who bakes him special seed cakes once a month. I'm the rooster guy now. When I meet new people in the neighborhood, they say, "Oh, you're the one with Gerald." I've leaned into it. Got a mailbox with a rooster painted on it. Wear t-shirts with chickens on them. My dating profile says, "Comes with a rooster named Gerald." And honestly, it's a great conversation starter. I sleep well now, 8 hours a night. My work performance has improved. I got promoted last month. And Gerald crows every morning at 4:30 a.m. like clockwork. It's the best sound in the world because it's the sound of peace, the sound of victory, the sound of a problem solved. The lessons. If you're dealing with a nightmare neighbor and the authorities won't help, get creative. Research your local laws. Find out what you're allowed to do on your own property. Use those rights. Document everything. I had 8 months of noise complaints, police reports, and recorded evidence of Brandon's parties. If he tried to sue me over Gerald, I had a mountain of evidence showing why I got the rooster. Stand your ground. Brandon tried everything to get rid of Gerald. I didn't budge because I was right, I was legal, and I was done being pushed around. And sometimes the solution to your problem is a loud farm animal with perfect timing and zero sympathy for hungover trust fund kids. Gerald isn't going anywhere. He's my pet now, my friend, my alarm clock, my noise-making, neighbor-annoying, justice-delivering rooster. Best $50 I ever spent. Update. Brandon's house sold for $30,000 less than he paid for it, probably because the listing mentioned morning rooster noises from neighboring property. I feel zero guilt about this. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, or in this case, throw loud parties, lose property value.